Good morning. I'm choosing to explore the question, as consultants and facilitators working with religious congregations, what are two or three of the most significant emotional and intellectual shifts that religious need to work through in order to free their creative capacities to imagine a very different way of being, relating, and engaging the world? The first important element that comes to me is that we live in our society now in a world of individualism, and that we come from a training in which personal relationships were discouraged in our formative years. This influences our present capacities, and it's important to at least acknowledge this. So in my capacities as facilitator of chapters, assemblies, and teaching days over the past 30 years, one of the biggest shifts I see and have begun to be called upon to speak about and facilitate is the longing for community and a willingness to explore what this might mean in our present time. Given this reality, I also question how much of this longing arises from patterns of denial, or from assumptions that it will turn around in our lifetime and women will join us again, or from an inability to grieve and the resistance to doing so. So, a way into the heart of what is happening that works for me is personal storytelling about older experiences in community and ministry. I have found that this brings people alive with a vibrant energy and has no ministerial purpose except that aliveness. Indeed, my experience witnesses to a quote by Yvonne Guevara in her book Out of the Depths, when she says, "Personal storytelling helps us discover the complexity of influential psychological, social, economic, cultural, and religious factors. This is not a matter of absolutizing individual experience, but of sharing how each person exists in relationship with others, with the larger world, with the earth, and with the whole ecosystem." Out of such a conversation, another layer could be explored. This could involve looking together at what expectations, structures, and purposes we need to let go of, and to open to new emergences or expressions of what community might mean to us now in our present time. Estelle Frankel, in her book The Wisdom of Not Knowing, clearly points out, unless outer changes are followed by a sustained effort to change the inner landscapes as well, they may go on repeating the same old stories in new situations. I believe that working with this inescapable reality in an ongoing way is crucial. In the same way, I often ponder Diarmuid O'Murchu's question in his profound and challenging book, Religious Life in the 21st Century, when he asks, how can we ready ourselves for refounding, which he believes is already happening, just as he challenges us to consider that what we are entering into is closure without ending. In response to your original question, I close with a quote from one of the chapters in Chicago that I was facilitating in, surprisingly to me, 2006. When I came across this quote, it still says everything I believe now. The new is to be seen through the dark passage of those who can go forward, through the ending that is in sight. This is the time of real faith, of leaping in the dark faith, with no certainties at all. This is the time when Spirit, who blows where it wills, is tugging at our ankles, untying the knots of our moorings. The sacred, that invisible presence, has brought us to the end of renewal and now opens the yawning space for transformation. Our time and attention in religious life is now to be given to reflection, contemplation, letting go, releasing old forms, deepening presence, surrendering to the chaotic darkness of creativity. As all integrative, proactive, and integral responses to the liminal calling which has consistently characterized religious life in its original fiery form. Thank you. These words all convey for me, and I hope in some way for you, some description of where we are now in religious life and how we can together move forward, steeped in the burning layers, as Teilhard himself would have said.